For Station 4, our discussion is going to center on goal setting and monitoring progress. And our question to help with that focusing of that topic is, what is a reasonable, measurable goal for student achievement? And that in particular could be for individual student achievement. So a part of the cycle of assessment, or the CDT cycle, is to plan instruction and then reflect and monitor. There are metacognition templates that have been provided along with the other CDT resources. And one of those pages in the metacognition templates asks students to think about a diagnostic category they'd like to work toward improving. And we want to support that and go a little bit further than what has been outlined as part of the setting of goal. In the metacognition template, students are asked, how will they improve that category, and even what additional help they may need. But they're not asked to set a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, or timely goal. So how could we do that? How could we set an individual goal that meets those criteria? So in the group map here in close to the center of the screen, we can look at students and we can begin to prioritize what groups do we need to set goals with and can provide additional instruction or enrichment to help them meet their goal. And maybe it's all student groups. But we also can look at the individual. So if we're looking at students here in the low red, or whether they're up here higher in the green or even the blue, every student could set an individual goal. We could also look at that student in the individual map. There's some information there that's provided for us. And when you hover over the whiskers in the individual map, the standard error is populated. And that standard error helps us to understand what is significant change in a student's score. What I mean by significant change is between the first and the second test administration, there is, or the first and the last test administration, there is the opportunity here for there to be no intersection of the whiskers, just like you would see here. That can occur between first and second, or between second and third, or between first and third. Any way you want to look at those test administrations. And that standard error is what we can use to determine if there's been a significant change in scores. So the chart here on the bottom left-hand side, we know that the standard error for the overall score is typically in the 40s or lower. We know that for the diagnostic categories in math and science, the typical standard error range is in the 70s. It could go as high as 85. For the diagnostic category of ELA, the typical standard error is in the 90s, and that range could go up to 115 easily. So we know to see a significant change, this typically happens at the end of the course, the distance between the beginning and the end of the course, because there has been specific instruction to promote that change. So what does that mean? That the score is greater than or equal to 2 times the standard error. And I just showed you the standard error. So at the end of the course, the overall score would have improved by 80 points to see a significant improvement, a significant change. In a diagnostic category for math or science, that means that the end of course score would have increased by 140 points or more. In ELA, that score would have increased 2 times the standard error, which if the standard error was in the 90s, we're looking at 180 points or more. If we would backward map to set a mid-course goal, well, let's go halfway. What if the student improved half the distance of 2 times the standard error to just 1 standard error? Well, that mid-course goal would be to improve the overall score by 40 points, to improve in a diagnostic category in math or science by 70 points, or whatever their standard error is. And in ELA, they would improve by 90 points, or whatever their standard error is. That would put them on the course to make a significant improvement by the end of the course. And that is one way that you could encourage students to write a specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goal. How do you help students write individual goals for student achievement in your LEA?